So hello everybody, and welcome back to some WARNO action, as I have to just fix one thing real quick here, before we get in, as somehow my Discord messed things up, but we should be fine now, and we are into another Division 1 cast here today, with some
Hell yeah.
beautiful action, as we are into Group C here, and we're gonna have 3 more Group C games deciding who makes it out of the playoffs. And we saw Goldenpanzer already yesterday, having a draw against Darkneutron, so they kind of need some points here as well against our player on the red side here, Deckle, aka Stardekk. Coming in with 20th Panzer versus 5th Nade, and that's a hot matchup, isn't it? Because we have seen this a lot of time, and it can go either way.
It is the hottest matchup right now. If I knew anything about celebrity culture, I would make a reference here referring to a recent breakup or something, because 5e and 20th Panchona really are the unstoppable object and the immovable force, or whatever the fuck. And 5e, being one of the strongest divisions in the game traditionally, has been nerfed repeatedly. It's maybe under 35th in overpoweredness factor right now, but still, its core units are very good. It allows you to take a pretty good variety of different aggro playstyles with some safety nets in the late game with the massed ATGMs generally and good artillery. And 20th Paterna being the leading pack division alongside 79th recently. We have talked a lot before that how 20th Paterna seems to be like the perfect designed counter for 5e, that every strength of 5e is countered, not necessarily directly, not like hard counters like the T72 going against the AMX 30s, but in general. So the recon advantage with the Dragon Paras and the Surblindes that 5e gets. The Poles have Rozpecialny. They can shoot down recon helicopters. They can hold in corners and reach the places before the Surblindes. So the infantry fire support battle, the Polish have the cheap BMP-1s, and their tanks, even the T-55s, can pretty easily challenge a lot of the French tanks. And the French tanks tend to be more expensive due to their autocannons. The infantry, which is very powerful, large squads with the French, infantry efficiency is very high with the Polish 20th Paczena. And, Kube's one-shot cheaper mirages. And now, as the game keeps starting, Goldenpanzer has been the more passive player relatively to these two. Stardekk is known to be wacky and experimenting with the borders of the divisions and their limits. And here we're seeing an interesting take of 5 Salamandras. Salamandras are this MI2, as you just saw with the Mirage taking them out, very low health, cheap helicopters with relatively, for pack divisions, very heavy weaponry. Maljutka missiles and 23mm cannons are being sent out there, but I really just gotta say, 5e is probably going to start with a fighter, considering they get cheap ones. Why did Stardekk not have any? Why didn't Stardekk have any counter to this, now having sacrificed the recon chopper and the
Well,
Salamandra?
well, he's still up in points right now. Like, the Mirage is more expensive than these. The question is, how many more can that Mirage kill? Second one coming up now. I expected Stardekk to bring in 2 MiG-21s maybe now, in minute 2. But no, the Salamandras actually all start dying. MiG-21 only now coming around. Oh, but nice bait.
This might go.
The MiG-21 maybe moving slightly off target, not shooting its missile, but baiting it nicely over the Shilka, so the Mirage gets pushed back. These Shilkas are the Polish ones. Those are the modernized ones with the better accuracy. Currently not paying any extra price. They are the same stats as the Berusa, but being the same price as the East German Shilka. So really another one of the reasons why the Polish currently are such a high efficiency faction. They just get things to a really good affordable price and combine the combined arms, they get cost-efficient tanks, cost-efficient IFVs, cost-efficient AA, cost-efficient recon, and that really makes them such a powerhouse. They don't have the top end in any tier, but they have solid stuff on every tier, and that makes them pretty scary. Gazelle Cannons here, rushing into the south, didn't achieve all that much, but allowed the Super Blindé to get a bit further forward. We have the big tank blob with the T-72M and the T-55A pushing forward. These are the Polish tanks, T-72s that didn't get nerfed, and Stardekk and Skifik and a lot of other players currently see this as the most cost-efficient blob in the game, and it most likely is, as these T-72Ms are still really, really strong. You have to be careful where you put them without the smoke, but as long as you are staying around a building or a forest, you can deal so much damage with these guys.
Yeah, so Eugen giving a free buff to a unit without a price increase, that's the sort of treatment that used to be reserved for only French divisions. Now the T-55s engaging the front line of Goldenpanzer's tanks here, the significantly more expensive yet more lightly armored and T-55's tanks, AMX-30s, losing one of them.
Yeah.
And so far, there's a Roland 3 and there's infantry. No, this is a potential breakthrough here. Stardekk has managed to drive in.
All the MX-30s, yeah, not taking the long-range engagements that you want to take with them. They have a range and a speed advantage over T-72s and T-55s, so they can kite it out. But yeah, Ross Specialny now rushing the Roland 3. Goldenpanzer, not at all with the opener they hoped for. The investment in the double Mirage, maybe a bit too much there. Shooting down the last Salamandra now with the Mirage, but yeah, a bit low on the ground there. No, not enough tanks, and the MX-30s, B2s, pushing into the infight, and that's not where they're supposed to be. The Ross Specialny in the south still allowing for a lot of vision here. Alouette will help out the MX-30 RC to at least get rid of that, but the Honkers being a nuisance in the rear, no tanks on the battlefield, only one now finally coming in again. And the T-55As and T-72s now pushing towards Alpha already. The Dragon Para don't have an AT weapon. The Special Forces are able to take out the Honker, but against anything else here, against T-72s and T-55s, there is no unit. There are no Apilas units or anything like that. The French got into the wrong spot, into the wrong fight, and got 100% punished for it.
Yeah, and now the Ross Specialny and the Honker Rus have both been set up to spot and even destroy recon units. Ross Specialny opens fire at the Gazelle Hot, which is a big mistake, because it could have maybe, if it had stayed hidden, it could maybe take out a free commandos unit out there with no other infantry reinforcements coming from that angle. Only Grenadier Voltigeurs Apilas also moving into the town, but so far it seems like this is a crushing victory coming in for Stardekk. Stardekk's tanks just going out there. Ross Specialny spotting everything, getting reloaded back into the Honkers Rus, and the Honkers transporting them to even better spotting positions. And reinforcements coming solidly: a recon helicopter, gunship, Shelkas, 2 coups, even Fagots and Saperzi to join in on the town, securing the town. So far, outside of the air mistakes here, maybe one of the air mistakes has been Goldenpanzer buying that extra Mirage F1 for 200 points. Really seems like those points could have been used defending the town at least.
Yeah, T-72M doesn't get hit by the Hot 2. Honker Rus now coming around. Gazelle Hot needs to disengage. Will try to take the fight there, but the 3 veteran Sea Honker nearly gets killed. Ooh, barely survives. Out of ammo now though. Jaguar AT missing its shots as well. More expensive units here. MX-30B2 getting into an infight with the Ross Specialny. Gets killed off. Massive mistakes here by Goldenpanzer. That tank gameplay here is just not what it needs to be. The rest of the game is going fine, but if you lose the tanks in these tank division fights, that's a massive deficit. The Grenadier Voltigeurs do their job. Jaguar AT here, expensive unit, not getting a kill. And Coops and Chilkas will be around. Yeah, Goldenpanzer trying to cover for his leg in tank play with some expensive airplay, but that is easily shut down as well with the Polish Coops. Chilkas can shut that down pretty quickly, and it's not the stuff that Goldenpanzer needs right now. He needs more ground coverage. At least gets the T-55 Ace killed and has now 2 MX-30 B2s again. And there's not that much on the front line right now for Stardekk either. But if the AT Mirage would have been 2 more AMX-30s, for example, or 1 more and another commando squad or so, that could be real pressure right now. Instead, it's a somewhat equal footing in units again, whilst Stardekk has way better territory, and that's the issue here. Goldenpanzer really still suffering from the early mistakes. Has recovered a bit in the trading situation, but needs to get the combined arms back set up back into the space. Gazelle Hots gets punished for just staying around empty-handed in the front line, and Goldenpanzer here really not with the micro you need to sustain your spot in Division 1, and getting punished here by the T-72M in the forest as well. AMX-30s on the front line without recon. Yeah, the combined arms here falling apart. Needs to get more units to the front line. AMX-30 B2 BC, I like that. You need a CV, you need a combat unit, so combine the two. But yeah, Shilka punishing the Alouette. That was known as well. It feels like Goldenpanzer is not fully in this game with the mindset.
Yeah, Stardekk had a very good infantry fight in the town with the Grenadier Voltigeurs, Apilas running off here. When you're getting into a town, especially a town as large as this one here, your first thing you want to do is secure the reinforcement routes, secure the entrances, send infantry or even vehicles to stop the enemy from getting in. And what it seemed like was that with Stardekk pushing outside the town with the Hongarus and the Rospeciani, the entrances were not secured, and the Goldenpanzer could recapture the town. But now the bad engagement against the Saperzi means that Goldenpanzer is barely holding into the town. Now the Saperzi moving up there to go and take out this AMX-30 leader. This, Stardekk really just. I don't know if it's a perfect storm or if it's Goldenpanzer taking. Just not being in the game for the moment, but the unit compositions here coming in as reinforcements are signaling a long grinding fight across the town, with the existing fire supremacy being significantly for Stardekk's favor. There are more tanks, there are helicopters, there are air defenses for Stardekk, and everything that Goldenpanzer needs, they need to buy at this point.
Yeah, Mirage is also now getting shut down by the Coups. Goldenpanzer has to buy more infantry, has to buy more Rolands, and is in such a terrible position. That's the Black Forest issue. If you go for the infight and then lose the first engagement and let the enemy get into your town zone, it's so hard to get them out of there. We have seen it being successful a couple of times in the past, but the Polish, especially with the Saperzi that also have AT weapons and so on, are so hard to get out. And the French are not a good pushing nation. They are a fantastic defensive nation when it comes to town fights, with great infantry AT weapons and their medium machine guns and so on, helping out quite nice as well with the big squads, giving the vehicles time to maneuver around. But pushing into a town is absolutely not their job. So this early fight here was just a terrible idea from Goldenpanzer, and the ground micro afterwards wasn't great either. The helicopter shutdown and so on, that was good. The flank in itself was good as well. But if you lose the main fights, it doesn't matter how much you work around on the sides. And the main fight was just really not a high-level play there. Like, that was a pretty obvious mistake. There is not much that 20th Panzerna does when it comes to armor play right now outside of these infights, and it is always going to beat you there. So letting yourself fall for that instead of setting up some Mephisto sign-off sites using the MX-30s as the fast flankers they are supposed to be, yeah, that's just a massive mistake, and they are struggling to get back into here. Trying to get some kills here, but Saperzis are on top of this. The Polish infantry just really annoying in the town, and the T-72s here microed in the forest really well from Stardekk. This is where you want to use these T-72s. This is how you want to anchor around them and abuse their insane stats for their cost efficiency, because they lose all the... they don't have any of the special things outside. They don't have smoke, they don't have speed, and they don't have range. But if you let them fight you on short range, they will just murder you. And that's exactly what happens to the MX-30s here. Another one going down. And the cost efficiency here just on the side of Stardekk, shredding the house, and has the BMP ones now as well. MX-30s can't shoot on the move either, so this is terrible too. And yeah, I don't think there is really a way for Stardekk to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean,
for Goldenpanzer.
On this map, you traditionally it's very important to get a bunch of points up early, because on Black Forest you get less points than on most maps. You only get 8, and 4 of those 8 points is very unrealistic. Even 5 of those 8 points are very unrealistic to actually get. So if you can, a 700 point lead 30 minutes in is more significant on this map, more relevant than on other maps. And people at ranked, you would expect people to quit pretty early if something like this happened. But you do have to remember that the reinforcement advantage is still for Goldenpanzer. The town is close to Goldenpanzer spawn. So
Yeah,
if there
but
were
he's basically out of it now. Like, it doesn't get into a town anymore. Like, that's, there we have the GG. Like, there is no room here to maneuver, and Goldenpanzer realizes that. 1000 points behind, nearly 2 to 1 KD here for Stardekk. Goldenpanzer just never got into this game and got punished for just mispositioning units in a really big way, like not respecting the matchup at all. You can't push into the NTF Panzerna at the moment. It is maybe the best division in the game right now. Like, Stardekk and especially Skific have spammed this division out a hell of a lot. There's a reason why Skific did it for his top 5 rush game the last couple of days. It is one of the fastest div out there. Like, it's maybe not the best division if you get it into a long game, but it is for sure one of the best openers. And if you don't respect that opener, even after shooting down the helicopters, you just deserve to lose your ground forces like that and deserve the loss. And Stardekk really well executed on the ground, even after the setback in the air, and just played it down quite nicely.
What I was going to say, that if Stardekk does a catastrophic overextension here, then it would be technically possible to quickly reinforce and take the town back. But, of course, that wasn't happening there.
Yeah, there wasn't even really room for a catastrophic overextension anymore, because there was no ground that Stardekk needed to move into anymore, and there was no need for any movement for the next 30 minutes. And Goldenpanzer, realizing that, just gave it to GG here, and it brings us to game number 2, where they hopefully find a better opener. They had a really strong game yesterday in game 1 against Darkneutron, so I'm optimistic that they can bring it here, but this was just not quite it. And tournament game here for Goldenpanzer on the line, so they need a W here in the second game if they want to have a shot of staying in this one for next season. Otherwise, they might get demoted. While Stardekk wants to win here in the second game, otherwise the playoffs might move a bit further away. So they also already had a draw against. So that will be interesting here. Seeing how the next game comes up. Stardekk versus Goldenpanzer, game number 2, coming up in a minute. So here we go, game number 2. Let's see if Goldenpanzer can bring a better strategy into this one, as we have them on 9th Panzer. We are at minute 15 of deployment here, by the way, as either one of these two must have taken a shower, and as we haven't seen any deployment of Stardekk, my guess would be on them. So they have done that before. So that's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see if 9th Panzer, who is on a 100%, which is still on a 100% win rate in the league so far this season, even after all the nerfs, can keep that up against the 11th ACAF powerhouse. That is one of Stardekk's most classic divisions. So it will be interesting. Bradley, M1A1 ACAF, helicopters, LRS. This is the classic Stardekk opener. Do you think the T-72s can stop this on Vertigo?
I mean, this is the most aggro heavy tank division or tank division for NATO, against arguably maybe the least aggro tank division for Pact. So looking at this, you have to resort to some pretty basic analysis, especially on Vertigo, where everything is kind of straightforward. The LRS are going to most likely secure a recon and defensive advantage alongside the Kiowa Warrior. Stardekk says that the Kiowa Warrior is the meta unit, that it is arguably the best unit even in the game, and it's not a bad argument. For exceptional optics and 120 points with the Hellfires, you can do a lot with that. You can maybe even do too much with that. And 11th Horse was nerfed back in the day because of the A10 and Kiowa openers being so powerful. We are seeing air defense coming out there in pretty significant numbers. So 9th doesn't want to start open up by feeding fighters into this. So diving against the Kiowa Warrior is going to be inefficient unless you have something like a MiG-21, which I don't think they have with 9th. And so we're gonna see Goldenpanzer take the standard mech blob defensive positions around Boris, see if the enemy is going to attack at that moment, build up into an attack on Anna, challenge the aggroing forward deployment ACAV in some way, and then the rest is going to be history. This is I wouldn't say this is a great matchup for 9th, but a good 9th player here, even if the 11th player does not overextend, a good 9th player should be able to grind away and get better efficiency on the long term. Now, on the other hand, 11th Horse has a lot of M1A1 ACAVs, and if you allow those M1A1s, I mean, not the ACAVs, just if you allow those things to trade up with T-72s, it could be that the Abramses are going to reach a number from which it's not really realistic to challenge them anymore with the way worse T-72 tanks. So if Goldenpanzer, I think, could lose this pretty early by losing the numbers tank advantage in some way.
Yeah, you need to get the M1A1 number under control whilst trying to keep your death ball off T-72s in the ratio where you can stun down and kill off M1A1s with a salvo or two. And that's like having 5 to 6 T-72s and then keeping the numbers of M1A1s permanently low and permanently putting up the pressure so that the M1A1s have to either die or give you important ground is the key here. But the question is, can Stardekk's relatively low number but high quality opener get him an advantage by killing off a couple of the key units on the other side? Or can Goldenpanzer keep the cohesion and just muscle through here? Kiowa Warrior, yeah, it has the Hellfire missile. It's the only helicopter missile that can be used whilst in motion, so it really allows a lot more micro than other helicopter-borne ATGMs. And the force performance is really strong as well.
The KA-50 doesn't have a laser homing missile.
It might have it as well, but yeah, outside of that, like only the highest end do have it so that you can fire them in motion. I believe they have it as well, but with lower accuracy when in motion. So yeah, on the Kiowa you still have 50% in motion, which is really strong with the Hellfires. And the OH-58s are a fantastic wall behind us as well. Any diving plane is going into a really risky territory with the 0.8 second aim time stingers just flying into their faces. And
yeah, the anti-air helicopters have been overperforming for some time now, and there's been a lot of theories about this, and it's probably a mix of certain factors: the movement, the full accuracy during movement, for instance, the fact that Stinger Post is just like a good anti-air weapon anyways, and the fact that the helicopters, as they are flying a little bit further away from the ground, get a better position to actually target a lot of planes. But the planes here performing adequately, taking some of them out, escaping from the F-16 that Stardekk has spent 230 points now, and the Kiowa Warrior has not taken any targets so far. Now ACAV opening fire and in the southern area.
Yeah, a couple of Mi-2 Urns shut down by the planes here and helicopters of Stardekk, but Stardekk taking a couple more losses, and the Kiowa Warrior here secures at least the southern flank. That's nice and all, but it doesn't get any kills. And the big fight is going to come now. 2 M1A1s and a Bradley versus 3 T-72s. The MEV with high veterancy here. Double vet coming in, 3 vet thanks to the leader. The M1A1 on 1 vet with 2 vet thanks to the leader. So high quality tanks on both sides. The Kiowa Warrior now going for a deep dive. Coop and Shilka might want to react there. BMP2 has to be careful. It's interesting to see the BMP2 going south. Okay, but there comes the MiG-23 already. Wants to take the Kiowa Warrior out first. And then go for the other one. But the F-16 was still there. In the corner. Goat kill for Stardekk. Getting the MiG-23 killed. Coop coming in too late. The T-72 in the north now. Engaging LRS. But not really having an angle for any kills. Quick fix and LRS holding the ground here. And yeah, the goal as 11th ACAV is to avoid any casualties for as long as possible. You don't need to take kills in this matchup. You just need to keep the enemy away from killing any of your units and finishing them off. And that is working so far. T-72 MEV goes down here as well. M1A1 CP pushes forward. T-72 M1K pushed back. And MiG-23 MF above the sky here. Getting hit by the OH-58S. Forced back. Next MEV coming up. And our Stardekk here having to retreat a bit. As the situation does stabilize slightly. But Goldenpanzer bringing in more reinforcement here.
Yeah, if you are going to take those fights as 11th horse, as the technologically superior force here, you want those fights to be fought on long ranges. As we saw, a T-72 hit takes a single point of damage against the ACAV, yet doesn't take that many shots to actually destroy fully a T-72, especially not when it's lowered cohesion after first shots are going to make it even slower and less capable of defending itself. Stardekk is buying a 155mm howitzer here, kind of speaking into the mindset that he's currently, the mindset being that we are going to siege the enemy. Stardekk is looking at the enemy as a fortifying force, not somebody that needs to be immediately countered with extra tanks. And with the helicopters managing to damage one of the MiG-23s.
Oh, Bradley there taking a risky fight, getting the ATGM through just before the M1K gets the shot off, and take damage taken on both sides. That Bradley on the flank there, really, really powerful. If it would have been lost, that would have been big. Well, Goldenpanzer now comes around the forces in the south, kills an UH-60A supply. No idea why that was that far forward to the front line. Bit of a mistake there by Stardekk. Coops and Shilka moving in a bit closer. As the Kiowa Warrior and the AA helicopter still holding the flank there. And
I believe that was, I was checking that, I think that was literally a misclick, that he wanted to send another helicopter there, but instead sent the supply chopper. But that was a good move, because now the Cube has revealed the range of Goldenpanzer's AA right now, and even the Shilka getting out there, both of the helicopters, one of the helicopters, no, they're not landed anymore. Okay, no, they're on, they are close to the ground, but they can be targeted by the Shilka.
Dismounted trooper is lost in the north as well. On contact. Stardekk actually going in the aggressive stance now. Maybe a bit early here. As the dismounted troopers are the only infantry there in the north. They try to rush through here. Try to get into the spot. But there is a 30mm grenade launcher. There is a lot of tanks here that can either 84 frontally as well. F-16 goes down too. We have an Su-22 AT that could come around. And yeah, dismounted troopers here gets done down immediately. That was a bit too obvious of a push. Mordschützen will most likely be able to kill them off. 30mm grenade launcher around there too. And dismounted trooper already completely disheartened. We have M1A1s being able to spot the 30mm grenade launcher, but that is an okay loss. Stardekk has to be careful not throwing away too many units here at once. That's always the issue with 11th ACAV. It can collapse quickly just by losing 3-4 key units and then having a gap in their combined arms. Shilka versus Kiowa Warrior. Shilka gets good amount of damage, both sides not killing each other. And the Kiowa Warrior landing on the ground does get the kill there. Good micro there. Yeah, the fly up, land down micro. Super annoying.
Despicable mechanic.
Yeah, a mechanic that Eugen really should fix in some shape or form. And yeah, I will have to bring that up in Strike Team another time, as it is really, really strong. You can either use it as a ATGM team from the ground that can't be hit by AA against AA units, or as a flying unit that can't be hit by normal ATGM units from up top. And if you micro it well, like Stardekk did there, it's really hard to deal with that on the long range.
And you don't get any range penalties, not even when firing with your rockets. So you can, with rocket helicopters, you can land them in like 500, not even 500, but like 1,000 meters from infantry, and just destroy whole squads by being in the ground. It's so there should be like significant restrictions for helicopters that have landed for them to fire their weapons. Now, a missile not striking the side armor of a T-72S, a Bet-1 T-72S moving up further down south. Now, Moto will spot the LRS in a moment, removing the main force of recon for Stardekk if Goldenpanzer manages to take that.
Dismounted troopers also all dying. M109's not finding a kill here. The BMD-1 will go down. T-72S now sees the M1A1 ACAF. M1A1 CP pushing forward, but I think that's an overextension. There's 3 T-72s plus the S in the north against that M1A1 CP, and it's pretty far out in the open without any support. The Bradleys are down. There's another M1A1 coming in. Seat and F-16AT coming in, getting the coup. So that is a good one. But on the other side, we come around with MiG-23s. Seed and F-16AT getting the kill against the Su-22. M1A1's falling back, getting the T-72 leader killed off as well. Okay, this is not Goldenpanzer's game here right now. Yes,
yeah,
the F-16AT gets pushed back there by the AA.
Yeah, the F-16s, both of them, the American F-16s, have AIM-9M missiles, which are the best heat seekers in the game, and they basically having those things together.
Another T-72 going down to the F-16C here. Yeah, the combined arms of Goldenpanzer is collapsing. Kiowa Warrior holds the sideline against the MEV, firing over the open field. MEV there gets killed off, and this is not Goldenpanzer's day, it feels like. Cluster Bomber coming out around as well. The micro and the macro decisions here in both games, not optimal. And Stardekk here bringing out his classic 11th ACAF with the gameplay that he has mastered over the last 3 years of this division. As the Kiowa Warrior comes around, picks up, and it has a few units that can kill it off there. You usually should hunt it down with manpads. Can't shoot the Hellfire on that, and then eventually it will have to take off, and then the manpads can deal with it. But that's not what Goldenpanzer did here, and got punished for that. Not using the right units at the right spot once more here. Fighting M1A1s now frontally, and gets another T-72 killed off for that. The positioning here just not where it needs to be, and 9th Panzer just gets pushed off this battlefield here right now. 11th ACAF getting another good couple of hits, and I'm not seeing a way back in here right now. Kiowa shooting down another play. The airplay really strong as well. Ihawks coming around. The Su-22s did nothing this game. The F-16 that killed the MiG-23 in the rear did a really good job as well. The opener wasn't all that bad, but everything else did fall apart again here for Goldenpanzer, and unfortunately, that means that this game here ends in a 0-2 series for Goldenpanzer and a 2-0 victory for Stardekk, who did really play like they should have every single game here. Really smooth game plan from the get-go, getting it through. Losing a couple of helicopters in both games at the opener, but not taking the foot off the pedal, keeping it steered in the right direction, keeping control of the game plan, and just clean victories.
There was still a moment before the complete mismicroing of the aircraft by Goldenpanzer. There was still a small moment. If they had managed to win that air engagement and then have the planes also go against they take out the Kiowa Warrior, that could have evened out the scales for a moment. But even then, there would have been the IHawk coverage, which I don't think Ninth could have really dealt with without artillery, and artillery would have meant even more sitting and waiting. And the sitting and waiting was going to be a huge problem against an enemy that has superior tanks to you. So any kind of an attack, even if everything had gone well in those last minutes, any kind of attack from Goldenpanzer would have had to overperform, in my opinion.
Yeah, really a job well done by Stardekk here. The Kiowa Warrior doing its job there on the south, and the airplay supreme as well. Goldenpanzer wasn't quite ready for that, not using the seat, not being ready for seat micro and so on, and that is just something that you just can't afford in these kind of matchups. Like Lathans did it yesterday perfectly, and that's how you have to play against divisions like this, which can just bully you in the air otherwise. And Goldenpanzer wasn't ready for that. It just felt like they weren't quite in the setting, and that can happen. Like this was for sure not Goldenpanzer's best games. Hope we will see them back next season with some smoother game plans again and some smoother games. I still one of the best stories, like when it comes to improvement over the time. And Division 1 was absolutely deserved after their performance last season, but this wasn't quite their best show here.
Yeah, it's a Goldenpanzer is I like to say one of those players that I feel like at least I used to believe that I could reliably play against, and Stardekk is not one of those players.
Yeah, job really well done by Stardekk here, and getting them a good step closer to the playoffs. And that leaves us with the next game in the series. So short break, guys, and then we're gonna get you some more Division 1 action here. So we stay in the group, and we stay with Stardekk on the left side here. And we switch the opponent for Darkneutron here on the right side, with Darkneutron bringing around some lovely helicopters here. We have a good couple of Mi2s coming up, whilst on the left side, Stardekk, 3rd US, sticking with the heavy tank division, sticking with the Kiowa Warriors. But this matchup on Kreider is an interesting one. Like, you have the heavy dog that has to fight around Boris at center and Anna, and is a bit sluggish. Whilst on the other side, you have the fast division that can rush into any spot on the bat, and that currently is a cost efficiency powerhouse. T-55A plops are fantastic, the helicopters are annoying, the aircraft are cheap, the AA is affordable and good, the recon with the Rospecialny and the HoneyKumiss is just fantastic, and it's gonna be tough to stop that momentum, but if you can get a spanner into that momentum at all, then 3rd US just gonna roll over the division in the late game. So that's the big question. Can Stardekk stop the rush, or will the 4th Polish just rush over them? And it's gonna be a hot one here.
Yeah, can Stardekk enter the mid game and the Abrams phase of the game without having Polish people like all around his zones, basically? And we're seeing Stardekk is resorting heavily into helicopters. We're seeing the Kiowas, we're seeing an Apache rocket and a rocket Hog, what Cobra, rocket Cobra as well. And these things are basically the only aggro that you have in this division, realistically. And they can be countered by even cheap planes, especially considering that there is no air defense outside of a fighter, which Stardekk is also probably going to buy. But even then, the fighters are not perfect defense against them. You know, the fighter can take a hit, and then suddenly your expensive Apache is just freely destroyed. We're seeing Stardekk open up with a supply truck, which is smart because you immediately want to resupply your helicopters as soon as they fired their first missiles. And we're seeing the very, very cheap, is it the cheapest leader in the game, the 35-point fire team leaders coming out in Humvees. You get 3 of them per card, I think, and they are going to prevent the early points snowball coming from a more aggro opponent. And it really seems like Stardekk wants to basically just destroy the enemy opener that is pushing towards Boris with helicopters. But on Darkneutron's side, we're seeing the Mi-2 URPG Nievosh, which I believe is it Viper? I just did some Googling a second ago, which is basically a Salamandra with 15 points extra, but with 4 Strela 2 missiles. Now, Strela 2 missiles in this, I'm not sure if they normally are 60 accuracy, but in this case they are. And with their range and speed and weaponry, they'll be happily stopping everything that Stardekk has coming out for here. Maybe if Stardekk has a second plane to also strike at the Gnievoshes. So far, it seems like Stardekk is taking a huge risk against a very powerful opener that can easily counter what they're doing.
Yeah, the Nievosh there are really scary with the Strelas, with solid performance. MiG-23 MF coming in as well. No A on the other side. I would have expected. Yeah, they're the Phantoms. They're coming too late though. Kiowa Warrior already down. OH-58 does survive for now, so that's pretty key. But the Phantom and the Eagle slightly too late. So the Nievosh here can push forward. The Apache and OH are blind for now, and the OH Scout won't survive long against these smooth snake helicopters. That's what it is. And they get the kill there against the recon helicopters. They have now to survive against the Phantoms and the Eagle, which they likely won't in high numbers, but at least one of the Phantoms pushed out, and they got the Specialny into position. Eagle gets another one killed. The last one out of ammo now. So the Apache and the Hawk can move forward, but they don't have AT weapons. Those are just rocket ones. So they were supposed to run over the HoneyKumiss, over the Rozpesnelny. They are not supposed to run over the T-55As. Those they just can't quite kill, and that's what here now for Darkneutron. So pushing this back is going to be tough. A great opener here from Darkneutron, really showing the Polish powerhouse and why this division is so feared right now. Osa following it all up here as well. Ooh, this is scary. Oh, and Stardekk has to be careful there. The fire team leader still moving in there. HoneyKumiss, Rozpesnelny will spot it. T-55As can move around as well. The Apache there, flying low, trying to give it cover. But the Rozpesnelny, revealing itself firsthand. Will eat a lot of fire there. Everyone goes down. Fire team leader kills the HoneyKumiss as well. Okay, at least paid off for itself, even if it goes down now. And Stardekk holding out for now. But the pressure is real. The T-55As need to move though. I'm not quite sure if Darkneutron realized that there are no ATGMs on these helicopters. Otherwise, I believe they would play more aggressive with the T-55As. But yeah, you sometimes just see a helicopter and don't quite read the name. Apache with ATGMs and or even the Cobra with ITOs would be a lot scarier. But Osa is around now, gets the first kill. The second Apache desperately trying to move around, but the T-55A now in range to open up with its heavy MG, and that alone already will do the job. Osa coming around as well, and both helicopters down. Terrible news for Stardekk, and Stardekk now in a world of pain.
Yeah, the Kiowa Warrior risk is always there, so you don't want to be too aggro with your T-55s, but now they are moving up coincidentally as the Warrior moves to a different part of the map. Rozpesnelny have already basically gained every position they want in the Dmitry zone, and having opened up that route, the fast Fagot reinforcements can basically go anywhere. Most likely gonna get rerouted further into Dmitry if Darkneutron notices how good the situation is.
Yeah, Rospecialny killing off the Bradley up there. Big kill. That's always the issue. That your Bradleys on their own can be run down by a single AT weapon or a single Milan 1 from somewhere and get killed off by that. Yes, they can stop heavier forces and be a back force multiplier, but you usually want to have at least 1 or 2 supporting units. But on a map like this is hard to afford, and especially if you do a helicopter heavy opener like Stardekk did. And now that all of that is down, the position here is a tough one. Fireteam leader at least actually did escape for now. T55 Ace finally spotted though, and might still be able to pick it off. Stardekk would have 2 more smokes to try to make them run away, but there's just nothing outside of these leaders anywhere on the map right now. Oh, in the south, there is one more trying to sneak through the north, but it's literally 5 units on the battlefield, and only 3 of them are really combat units. Kiowa Warrior, Fireteam Bradley with the and then the M150, and on the other side it's a good dozen or 2 dozen units here actually pushing forward for Darkneutron, and this just shows the cost efficiency dilemma that you can run into with 30S, whilst it also shows the pure cheap spam that 4th ZMAC is so known and feared for right now.
Yeah, this looks much like the World War One era mobilization question, where the ability after around the Franco-Prussian War in 1871, all European militaries realized that the people who had the most guys in the fight were probably going to win. So if you were just first on the battlefield, any kind of war that you started fighting, you were most likely going to win. And the mobilization dynamic was what led to World War One. Many would argue, and here we can see just like there is so much stuff here. Like Stardekk is in a protagonist role of having spent all of their units into the kind of bad helicopter opener, and now every single one of the units is completely like irreplaceable because every time they kill something, in the time that it takes for them to move to kill the next thing, there are 2 more getting bought as reinforcement. Darkneutron is not playing this badly. Darkneutron has supply around. They micro. They have good positions. They have screening forces. They have even some defense in depth here with the Fagots. This is a massive uphill climb for Stardekk.
Yeah, VD43 has to be a bit careful there in the middle, as the M1A1HA and M1A1 Abrams come closer. And yeah, this is not a map where Stardekk could just not invest into any units for the first 10 minutes like they did against HoneyKumiss in that game 1 on Vertigo. And the M1A1HAs and M3A1 Bradleys here now moving forward. At the same time, Hawk goes down there, and the VD43 at least gets killed in the middle, but now all the other ATGMs are flying in. The Bradley can get one shot, it only has 3 frontal armor, and it goes down. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Bradleys are such glass cannons. They're fantastic in a layered combined arms setup where they have a bit of support, where they can spot the enemy but also immediately be supported by other units. But frontally running into a Fagot wall, a Fagot phalanx here basically, is not their strong suit. And there goes another big blow for Stardekk's chances of pushing back here into the middle. And they need to get some kills here. They need to stop the death ball from the other side. At least the capture in the north reduces the tick nicely now. That is pretty big. The sneak of the fireteam leader really helped out a lot. Will move that out a bit again. And only a +1 now for Darkneutron, but they're coming back into the middle. They still could play air spam or something like that. Eagle is on the side, but if enough Osas are in the middle, that won't matter. And we already have 3 now coming in. Fist V's here out against the Fagot wall as well. And the T55s not good enough against the M1A1s, but everything else can die to them. And then on their own, the M1A1s can't do much if they get constantly spammed by ATGMs either.
Yeah, the Fagots here, of course, not capable of penetrating the armors of not even the standard M1A1s, not to mention the HA variant, heavily armored variant. But as these units gain cohesion loss, get closer, the Meridas will be able to peek them at an opportune moment. And being close by, the Meridas will gain at least a little bit of kinetic damage which will help do the damage and even more extra suppression. Even if you get these 2 super tanks, the OSA hitting the Apache ATGM, massive, massive, massive damage here. Exactly the kind of stuff that you cannot deal with as. And here we see the Merida do the damage right in the armor of the command.
Cluster Bomber getting pushed back by the OSA as well. OSA Supremacy doing the job here. Yeah, they are such a good AA piece currently. The anti-helicopter range of them is enormous. They are fast, they can maneuver around. Their air capabilities, yes, they don't have the best range there, but if the enemy plane dives on them, they have good aim time, they can get the missile out, and they have a solid rate of fire as well, so the second missile comes up decently fast afterwards. And that is a big, big issue here for Stardekk. Next Phantom gets pushed back there. Fire team leader gets pushed out of the middle. Fist V recon goes down, and that's the recon that Stardekk's tanks here are relying on. The M1A1 CV has to be repaired, and currently none of Darkneutron's units dying here. The attrition is not there against his forces. Phantom cluster gets pushed back here again, takes heavy damage. Phantom AA gets pushed back as well, and Darkneutron just wants to get a bit of a faster tick here, maybe. And the VD-43 finally moving around, but the Phantom going down and all of that is fantastic. The KD is in a really good spot for our player in red, and they just have to get the tick on now. And as soon as they get that back, the game here should be in a really good spot for the 4th CMAC.
Yeah, a little extra mention for Stardekk's mortar. The having such a small group of tanks, expensive super tanks even, and fighting against a numerically superior foe, having this 75% self-propelled mortar in the background to do smoke work is a really nice detail. It's a good touch because after you pop your one smoke with a tank, you need to resupply it before you can pop it again, but you can gain the extra protection with the supporting smoke unit here. And moving into Dimitri, the M1 command is taking the zone, and there are no units to immediately counter this. The recon units of Darkneutron are not going to not moving into challenging this. I believe they're waiting for the 3 T-55As, which properly microed and in this close environment can be just very deadly. If they engage on Abrams on long range, of course they're toast, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Darkneutron really realized that they lost Gregory. SU-22 getting shut down as well. And you want to have more than a +1 here as Darkneutron, so should at least get back up there. Should maybe get another 1 or 2 CVs here out onto the battlefield. The SU-22 cluster kill for sure good. The T-55As, not the greatest tanks right in that spot. Like, yeah, would be better at Gregory. Or if they can push north, maybe coming in from an angle there. No, going to try to go into an infight with the M1A1. We have Apaches and Kiowas around again, and if the combined arms of Stardekk is allowed to build up here because it's only a +1 against them, then there is still absolutely hope here for the 3rd US. The opener wasn't great, there were some heavy losses, but if you let them get the late game composition up without being too far behind in points, then the 3rd US always can turn it around. And that's the big question here. Why is there no CV in the north here for Darkneutron? Why are they allowing the tick to happen like this? Because they want to end the game here as quickly as possible. And with a +3, they would be already on a good way there, ending the game in the next 10 or so minutes. But with the +1, it's not even within the next 27 minutes. Like, they're not even going to get the 2,000 points in time. So, big, big mistake here, especially as Stardekk is now only a contestant of the middle away from stopping the tick completely.
Yeah, the Smots Riyadh managed to get a nice side shot against the M1A1 leader, kind of delaying any possible attack on the upper part of the plateau here in the highway area.
Oh, side shot against the M1A1 CV though. Kiowa Warrior goes down, and yeah, Stardekk, that's always the issue. That's always the issue with the heavy US decks. You're only 1 or 2 losses away from catastrophic setbacks, and that's 3 losses in a row here as the ATGM helicopter goes down as well. It kills the OSA, but the OSA kills it as well. And that means 3 key units to get the pressure here back onto Darkneutron, taken from the battlefield, so the +1 at least is going to stay for a good bit longer, and yeah, Darkneutron should work on getting back the Gregory and really set up the tick. Is not doing that, but those kills on their own already really fantastic here for the position of our player in red.
Yeah, the smoke here, the purpose of the smoke is because an M1A1 straightforwardly armor to armor, front to front wins against everything that is on board. No unit can actually face it down outside of its 2,275 meter gun range. Now, the smoke play here is to make sure that every engagement is going to be front to front, that the numbers and the efficient combined arms of the Polish don't sneak in a side shot or break this equilibrium in any way. And so far, it has not been going perfectly. There is a lot of stuff going on, especially with the airplanes around, and trying to also do like infantry micro and watch out for any Polish recon units around the place. There's a lot of stuff for Stardekk to pay attention to, and Darkneutron is actually moving in a T-55 into a very hidden southern position here, and that's a base model, doesn't get the greatest range, but if it can fire at get a single shot against an enemy side armor, that could suddenly also just push Stardekk into an even tighter position than they already are in.
Yeah, and smoke here coming up for Stardekk, keeping up the pressure, but +1 is still the tick here. I don't quite understand why Darkneutron is not seeing the north. So he is one of the players that misses units and positions and gets a bit locked down quite often. He has fantastic setup and micro around the spots he's fighting over. And M1A1 CP here is in trouble. Great flank with the SU-22, so it might not even matter here as he's just taking away 30US's key units. But this game would be so much easier for our player in red already if they would have just moved something up north, as there's nothing there to stop them from taking it. Honker Reese even finds the fireteam leader here that tries to sneak forward now and kills off the CV there completely. So Darkneutron just needs to move the VD43 up there and set the timer and the clock completely on Stardekk, which then, like with 23 minutes, there is still a bit of hope here for Stardekk. They still have a solid army. They lost too many planes and too many helicopters a bit too easily, but M1A1's a bit of artillery and some recon still can do a good amount of work and maybe push through the middle, maybe take Boris back. There's not all that much defending that area. And if Gregory is not taken, that could still hunt Darkneutron. But they finally get the VD43, so they will set up the timer soon. And they still have a good defensive spot here. A lot of HGMs, a lot of tanks. And when they want HA moving forward, but how much can they realistically take here?
Yeah, the horse blinder effect here has been beaten by Darkneutron, who is finally going to capture the northern zone. But I think if Stardekk's next attacks are going to go well, I think we can easily blame the empty-mindedness here for Darkneutron.
Oh, potential side shot. Nope. M1A1 HAs and M1s pushing forward. Darkneutron here with great positioning in this one so far. And gets a good stun there on the next M1A1. Yes, Fist V's and DHA getting pushed back. Fist V goes down. MiG-23 pushed back. SU-22 AT not able to get the kill there. F-15 finds the kill on the other side. Fireteam leader in the south tried to sneak through, gets shot down. F-15 still has to be careful, but also out of ammo. Otherwise, that could have been the end of it. Darkneutron with the T-55 in the south, still doing a good job. Finally gets the capture on to the north. +2 for now. +3 soon enough. And that's already a 14-minute timer now. And it's going to go even lower soon. Then the BRDM, BMP-1, ATGM spam here. Just constantly keeping the M1A1s low on hit points and low on cohesion is pretty strong. And oh no! It's Okay, SU-32 not quite finding the kill, but both tanks are so close to dying. M35s here have to fall back. BRDM conquers, coming in with an ATGM, stuns the M1A1. These won't be able to come around for anytime soon, and we now have the +3. We now have the 911 points already. The timer will go up fast now. 8 minutes coming up. The big counter push in the south. That might be the saving grace here for Stardekk. This has to go well. This has to go to Boris, capture that, and then set up defensive positions there. If this isn't going well, then I think this might be the nail in the coffin. But there is not all that much here for Darkneutron. Ooh, forgot missile though. Okay, only finds frontal armor. Good micro there. M150s moving around. Bradley moving around. And we have this M70. Oh, that could be devastating. Tanks are moving. Good micro there from Stardekk. T55A goes down. Fagot team goes down as well. Stardekk now on the aggression. This is key.
Yeah, the Mi-24D is in a position to move. I would say that maybe the Concourses on the center zone should also do it. They're pretty close to some good positions. And another helicopter getting sent there to do interceptions. And yeah, if they can get Boris here even beyond these helicopters, it's gonna be kind of retakeable by Darkneutron, with Darkneutron having a lot of expendable infantry that they can send out there. The fact that Stardekk is still having to rely on this aircraft to deal damage here, and doesn't have strong enough ground game with infantry to move in here, is a huge time problem. That the planes can be up in the air only for a moment. And waiting.
Unfortunate times for the T55A here in the rear. It got into such a nice sneaking position, but the Recon Bradley does find it and does kill it off. Really, job well done getting it there from Darkneutron, but good find there by Stardekk. Loses another F-4 for Eve cluster though. The usage of air units not that great in this game from Stardekk. T55 and BRDM2 in the center going down, so the forces are reduced a bit, but so are the ones on Stardekk's side. And the BRDM2 Conquerors here still having some nice pressure on the whole situation. 18 minutes timer. It's back to a +1. The southern push is working. This is the potential saving grace, but the Mi-24V against the M150s gets a Bradley already. M1A1 there is in a scary spot as well. Might find an OSA. Has to be careful there. OSA driving away. The T-55s on the side of it though. They could ruin the whole day of this. One OSA goes down, but the Merida gets a good hit. And 1A1 has to run away there. Good micro from Stardekk, but at the same time rocket artillery coming in right into the open area as well. Fire team 84s go down in the north, and Stardekk in trouble. Trying to move away from the Meridas, but shows side armor there and gets killed off. Meridas find the CV tank, and that means the southern position here is compromised again. The M150s will lose against the Meridas. The Fireteam Dragon can't help out much either, and that means that Darkneutron soon should be able to retake the south, soon get a +3 back, and put the point advantage into a spot where it might be unrecoverable here for Stardekk.
Yeah, the expensive unit reliance for third US and the air unit reliance is a problem here, because if you have the Abramses take a lot of cohesion damage, they're going to go down to -75% accuracy, -40% reload time, and a slew of other significant debuffs. So as you saw earlier with all those cheap missiles hitting the front armors of these tanks, they still had to retreat. They still have to move back. The airplanes have not been coming in together with the tanks, so the airplanes can be challenged and put out to their 5-minute reloads after getting wounded, and then the tanks will come right after that. The rhythm is not up here for Stardekk, and as we've mentioned, every time there is a delay, every time the attack does not happen, Darkneutron is the winner. Darkneutron has such a large and deep deck with so many useful units, and here we're seeing three more Fagot missiles getting sent here into the middle, and we've seen the Conqueror's cars and the BMPs already be just so efficient, even though they don't necessarily get the kills.
Yeah, aircraft troopers here coming in.
Oh, Merida side shotting an AK.
Oh no, another CV. Yeah, this might be a game for good now. As yeah, there goes the Black Horse on this off as well. GG is called, and Darkneutron is getting the win here, and that is a really interesting position now in this group. Darkneutron getting good scores here so far. A good amount of points spread out here. And if they can win here, they could ruin Stardekk's move towards the playoffs. So Stardekk needs the next map at least. And yeah, Darkneutron and Stardekk here in a tough fight. Really job well done, showing why 4th ZMAC is so scary and why maybe 3rd US is not the perfect rider division. Like, it is a scary division in Stardekk's hand. We have seen it on Vertigo, and it is not a bad division at all right now, but it is a bit too reliant on its heavy boys, and there's a bit too much space on Grider to cover all of the spaces.
Yeah, the fourth, like I said, I've been getting into fourth mech after Protoss recommended it, and I really do think like my earlier comparison with the mobilization dynamic is that if you just think of fourth Schmeck as the division is an extension for the HoneyKumiss. The HoneyKumiss, the Spec Ops car with the 120 kph travel speed or road speed. And then just imagine what would be the game that the HoneyKumiss would play. What would be the perfect follow-up for the Rozpecialny? And then you just keep filling the map with things, and you get such a great initiative. You can the stealthy units you can hide in and put them to both spot and take out enemy reinforcements. Playing with the Polish infantry, it feels like you're given the chance to have like the first 2 or 3 minutes for yourself, not game wise, but in the way that you can take control of the map. And the infantry and the mech being slightly cheaper than their compatriot, the infantry especially having lower tech infantry weaponry and really bad AT weaponry, but it also means every time you're thinking, hey, I should buy 2 infantry units there, I should pre-buy them so they're going to arrive in time. Every time you can do that. The BMP 1 is 25 points, and the infantry is like 40, 45. Every time you're thinking, you always have the points. And that means that your reinforcement line is going to be so reliable that as long as you just micro well enough and keep the engagements on the right distances, the Forge mech does deliver. And here we also saw that their heaviest equipment, the rocket artillery, can be situationally brought out to hurt the sort of mech blob gameplay that Stardekk was trying to save themselves with.
Yeah. Job really well done. Then Stardekk maybe has to fall back to a bit more standard gameplay now in the next game, or pick a better map for his playstyle. As yeah, maybe we get Vertigo or so again. We'll figure that out. As we're gonna go into a short break, guys, and then we're gonna come around with map number 3. And yeah, see you all there. And game number 2, we have Stardekk this time on the left side here, on the deck that we saw him before on this map, and with a similar opener to what they did against Goldenpanzer. Stardekk coming around here with a lot of Salamandras, while Darkneutron on the right side brings out First UK, a division that Darkneutron, together with Cheesh, has brought into the mainstream. Darkneutron really familiar with heavy tank openers of this division, but I don't expect we're gonna see the OG Darkneutron double tank CV opener. I would expect something else here. It's still gonna be interesting to see here on Black Forest to see how Second UK is going to go against the fast speed. But before we jump in, quick shout out to the Matcherino page, guys, where you can help out funding this whole shenanigans. And you can help out by just clicking the claim code button on the WARNO League Match Arena page. I will share the link here in a second. And you can just add 25 cents completely for free. You only thing you have to do is go to the link, click the claim code button, and then it adds 25 cents immediately to the prize pool. If you want to help out further, you can do so with the contribute button up here and add money directly to the prize pool. Thanks to everybody who did. And then if you want to help out the channel and the vision of this whole tournament, just click the link, the like button down below on YouTube, and yeah, subscribe and follow so that the algorithms know that they need to push this more, and you don't miss upcoming ones. Bell button obviously always helps as well, getting notified when we go live and stuff, if you don't want to miss any of this. And yeah, let's get into the action here. Stardekk really with the same opener that we have seen before, isn't it?
Yeah, and Darkneutron is doing the greatest sin that I can imagine here, which is they're taking their forward deployment, Terrier's Paracal Gustav assault troops with 0 veterancy. No, these are fighting units, 0 vet units in forward deployment. Don't do anything except, well, I mean, I guess this unit is going to technically hold this one corner and prevent the enemy from moving up there. Maybe you can justify having a 0 vet unit for that. But having a 0 vet card of Terrier's Paracal Gustav, I don't really see it. But there's going to be an offensive nature to Darkneutron's opener, as you can see with the 6 Gazelles. The Gazelles are going to go out there and they're most likely going to try to overpower the Honkerus and the Rospecialny. Those things develop into problems, and at this point, everybody playing against the 4th and 20th Polish know that. Now, there is a Challenger 2 opener with some rifles and assault pioneers, and they're going to try to build up some kind of a mechanized force in behind Bravo, so between Bravo and north of Alpha, right of Bravo, north of Alpha. That is the place generally occupied by heavier armored formations. It is protected from long-range engagements via the buildings next to Bravo, and it can maneuver pretty nicely to impose fire control into the Foxtrot and Alpha areas. Now, the British infantry is on paper generally, in most cases, I think, just straight up better than the Polish. But the Polish get such good numbers with them that they can afford to take the Piechota Szmek on veterancy too, which makes them more relevant in town fights. And the Piechota Szmek SVD, having 2 machine guns and a sniper rifle, of course, very, very powerful unit for 45 points. And so the infantry fights in Alpha will likely not going to happen on either end. But if they are going to happen, if Stardekk gets in there and starts sending their 9-man Sapersi squads, Sapersi Sturmovi, the British are going to have a big problem trying to get them out of there.
Yeah, and MiG-21s here coming in, they aren't efficient against Gazelle rockets, but they at least will take them out. And there is no mobile AA here that can easily shoot them down. There is no fighter out either. No air spam opener here out of Darkneutron. No big tornado set up there, and that means the MiG-21s can pick away freely. And 1 Gazelle rocket already falling down. Only 5 to go. Next one gets picked off here. And there comes the Predator again. MiG-21 coming around. Gazelle, each 1 rockets here landing on the ground. SAS patrols and low 80s moving around the battlefield as well. Tractor appears coming in, will try to prevent all of this, but the other helicopters from the other team, they are moving forward still. SAS patrol in their way, and the Salamandra with the Malyutka M's can be pretty annoying for all the AA as well. And there is not that much AA here on the battlefield, so and yeah, the Scout Law overextending a bit, getting shut down by the Rospecialnys. Stardekk here finding a way better opener than last game and using the Polish power for themselves this time around. And Chieftain and Challengers will have to be careful there. SAS Patrol on the way back already. Javelin LML needs to get out. Javelin needs to get out. Javelin in the south. Coming around as well. Honkers get shut down by the Milan 2, but Rospecialny unload in time. As we see the first Salamandra falling. Javelins here now in the church tower. Try to get another shot. Do miss there, but at least that will push back the helicopter opener here. But Stardekk did get a good amount of territory. The Terrier powers, though, holding off the Rospecialny for now. And if Darkneutron is taking the defensive spots well, then and they don't seem to be as aggressive in their posturing as we saw in the Goldenpanzer, then they still might be able to contain all of this. MiG-21 bomber, though. Oh, coming in with a good bombing run, killing off the Milan 2 and the Javelin. Fantastic hit. Will allow the Salamandra to come around again. And yeah, I'm missing the Tornado here. A Tornado in the rear as an anchor would have been really nice against stuff like this. At the same time, Challenger in the north kills off the Rospecialny, but gets stunned down, has to be careful. And the Chieftain Mark 9 has to be careful to not overextend there in the middle either. As the T-72s and the T-55s now coming around, and the Salamandras now likely gonna capture Alpha. Tornado only now coming around. Salamandras immediately go down, do land, and Coop and Shilka already on the way. And yeah, a lot of damage here already done. Rospecialny going down, Salamandra goes down as well. So the situation here still not lost, but Darkneutron a bit too far forward again. It's the same positioning here, the same mispositioning that we saw from Goldenpanzer, just not with as many units, but important units here as well. The Chieftain Mark 9 should just smoke off and run the hell away. The Warrior should be a bit further back as well. Tornado now has to be careful of the MiG-21 behind it. Tries to escape over the tracked rapier. The tracked rapier does save the day. The MiG-21 goes down, but the Tornado, only surviving with 1 hit point, will be out of the fight for a long while. And the Challenger... Good kills there. T-55 and T-72 stopped. Yeah, this is the positioning that I wanted to have to see from Goldenpanzer earlier today. Darkneutron with a way better setup here, getting the flanking shots. Rover Milan gets shut down by HoneyKumiss. HoneyKumiss firepower is just intense, but all the tanks are down. That's a good start. Chieftain has to be careful here. BMP2 is still around. With the longer reload time, though, will take a good bit longer than in previous days to get the second missile out. And Darkneutron not out of this now. This is a solid positioning now. Like, you have Foxtrot. SU-22AT is scary. Challenger goes down. Pain. Oh, and it gets the Chieftain on the way out as well. Oh, this is terrible.
Polish cavalry just a little bit too late, but still wins the fight. You know, the taking out those 2 tanks is a huge problem. There's barely anything the Darkneutron can use to attack here. The helicopters can't fly close to the Shilka and the Kub, and even the assault pioneers are now just moving up there, trying to get something done. The Warrior Applique smokes off, getting into a numerically disadvantaged location. And 2 more Chieftains, 2 more Appliques are brought into the middle to actually apply pressure. The victories that happened in the northern position of Foxtrot have been kind of whisked away now with a leader and a fortifying force of Recon and a BMP2 getting out there. The Lynx Hellarm should maybe move further up north to be able to target those units. And but outside of that, there's no
mistakes. You never die for these Me Too's. The Tornado F3 diving for a stupid helicopter, getting shut down. You can't afford the loss of these Tornadoes. Those Tornadoes are air superiority fighters. They're not hunters for helicopters. They're not MiG-21s. You don't want to just intercept and just rush down those little things. You want to keep the sky clean from enemy aircraft and use them defensively. They will win against the MiG-21s over time. They will attrition the MiG-21 bombers, but if you lose them like this is just such a costly loss, and also enables the MiG-21 bombers to come back and hit your tracked rapiers, hit your warriors, your chieftains again in the future. And this is a tough setup. The Scimitar in the rear here, that's a nice little addition. Darkneutron around Charlie there with some annoyance. On the other side, the HoneyKumiss coming around from Stardekk as well, though. Pushing forward. Assault Pioneers being pushed back. Whilst we have Warrior, Pleeks, and Chieftains moving towards the center. Challenger Mark II and a Scimitar moving around towards the northern flank. BMP2 there versus the Gazelle rockets will hold them off. But at least they know where the enemy position is now. One of them going down, but for 20 points. Not the biggest loss, as the Warrior Pleaks and Chieftain Mark 9s in the center. They are the ones that have to hold. Alpha isn't allowed to fall. Foxtrot is annoying now. The +2 is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Meanwhile, Darkneutron moves on further with the Scimitar. Okay, now wants to intercept the northern road. I feel like that is a bit too greedy. Should have stayed on the interception towards Charlie.
Yeah, now the reinforcements have landed here to the staging area in the middle of the of Alpha and Bravo, so the kind of center area. Now Warrior Obliques moving southwest to kind of sit around these tree lines, and Chieftains being in the middle of the road here. But Series 30 missing this time, but apparently surviving from the track repair. Now, one of the Chieftains has been was put to low cohesion.
MiG-21 bomber also coming in here. This is where the Tornado. Why do you waste Tornado's Division 1 players? Why do you hunt Me Too's? You never should do that. This is not what you should ever see in Division 1. A deep dive over unknown enemy airspace with a Tornado should never happen, and that's the punishment you get for it. Using your Chinook, not being able to deal with the Su-22. This is where the Tornado should have come in, and yeah, he gets the punishment for it now. Chieftains didn't get killed, but they got stressed out, so the fight here against the T-72s is a bit harder. They are still holding out thanks to the Warrior Pleaks. BMP-1 and BMP-2 got shut down. Chieftains now under fire from the side as well, though, and the T-72s here well microed by Stardekk. This is an M1 model. This one has smoke, so this is the better, slightly more expensive one. Outclassing the Chieftains a good bit as well. Gazelle rockets here, helping out a bit against the infantry, but the Fagot there in a really nice spot as well. Challenger Mark II slowly coming around, but Stardekk here with the way better trades right now. Scimitar in the north got shut down. Warrior Pleak goes down as well. The Challenger Mark II now finally arrives, but all the infantry out in the open here, in a bit of a weak spot and weird spot as well. Like you would want a recon unit or so in one of these tree lines, but the infantry itself shouldn't be out there, and that just gets shot into pieces now as well. Unnecessary losses that will make it harder to defend Alpha, where these infantry units could be really, really helpful with their double MGs on the defense.
Oh, the Challenger not doing great damage against the T-72.
Tornado cluster and Tornado Seed coming around, getting the coup. MiG-21 gets pushed back. Tornado Seed flying real deep, intercepting the Su-22AT here a bit as well, but gets hit there once, and the MiG-21 AA still coming around. Doesn't get the hit either. It flies directly over Shilka though, and that might be the end of it. Shilka, no, not quite getting it. So that's a successful usage there. The cluster, though, not dealing all that much damage on the ground, but at least the coup went down, at least the cluster and the seed plane got out, and the enemy unit got actually intercepted. Enemy AT plane not able to run for the Challenger Mark II. Big there as well. It all would have been so much better if the Tornado would still be around, though. Like, this Tornado could have done so much work here, and instead, the MiG-21s can run rampant and secure air superiority for the Stardekk nonetheless.
Yeah, see, the fact that the Challenger is sitting here in the middle, easily spottable by Polish recon, and knowing that there are enemies with both ATGMs. Okay, now the Challenger is moving into something resembling cover, but Stardekk is not content in just trying to win the arm wrestling contest with in the middle tank fight. There is another incursion moving up north with some veteran infantry, recon, and a T-72M, and the only thing stopping them are Warrior Applique and an SAS patrol, the latter which does not have AT weapons.
Warrior Applique in the north, doing a good job though, but the SAS patrol getting overwhelmed. Challenger and Milan 2 coming around there. Challenger from the center, rotating slowly up there as well. But yeah, the SAS patrol gets shut off. The Terrier Paras have to fall back as well. And yeah, the lack of infantry here for Darkneutron is a really big issue. And that wouldn't have been the case if they would have microed around with the armored rifle a bit better. But Alpha is really attackable as well. Challenger at least gets a BMP-1 with infantry inside killed off. Warrior Pleak now getting involved against the BMP-1 in the north, but out of Milan 2s. And the BMP-1 there, with the high veterancy, has a decent rate of fire and accuracy as well. So the Challenger here trying to help out. Armored T-72 is still around there as well, as the BRDM-1 pushes the oblique there on the side. Milan 2 coming around for the town again. Challenger Mark II moving up north. Yes, we have another Gazelle rockets, but the combined arms here of 1st UK is struggling to keep up with the Polish. Polish powerhouse keeps on pressuring here, as we have a Warrior Oblique going down. Pichotak's mech pushing forward, MiG-21 Bis flying around as well, and yeah, it's a tough position here for Darkneutron. It's not over yet. We have a tornado in the sky again that, for example, could intercept the Su-22 there and maybe get a shot down. MiG-21 is on the fire first. That's the right first target, but it doesn't work out. Su-22 even might be able to make the turnaround. Uses its gun here, but the tornado can fly away. Tractor up here goes down though. MiG-21 got shot down, but the Su-22 does only eat a hit from a javelin. Second one gets a Challenger killed. Second Challenger is stressed out. Gets at least killed off by the tornado, but still the tempo hits here are, and the combined arms hits are heavy. And oh no, the T-70M1 gets the rout on the Challenger, and there's nothing here to help out. A Warrior Oblique maybe could move into a position where it could help out a bit, but Challenger being routed here can't be controlled. The crew is running away. Warrior Oblique desperately trying to help out, but gets now shut down by the other T-72. Challenger has recovered, but only in the moment where it gets blown up. Turret flies away, and the Warrior Oblique is about to go down as well, and the whole combined arms has fallen. There is only a bit of infantry and a couple of Gazelles here. No armor on the battlefield here for our player in blue. This was the last bastion there, and it has fallen, and now Stardekk can go for the kill here. MiG-21 HE trying to come around, gets another good bombing run, kills off the Milan 2. It doesn't get shut down as there's too little AA, and there we go. GG is called, and Stardekk gets the draw here, and with that, we'll move towards the playoffs.
Yeah, Stardekk just doing the right decisions repeatedly and doing the engagements the right way, exploiting recognizing the enemy's weakness and exploiting it, both by like immediately in the opener, there was the Assault Pioneer sent out there to guard the town from the Rozpecialny from opening up a pathway for Polish infantry to get in there. And after these opener engagements, Stardekk had infantry reinforcements in BMP once, and there were moments when those were routed towards those were clearly going to possibly reinforce the town, but then there were some kills taken in the middle by Stardekk. There was some especially the plane hits on the tanks, and this just Stardekk somehow recognized that it was possible to take control over the complete northern part of the map, and they just did. And the mistaken strategy of trying to get into the town or something, you discard them immediately, and then you lean in on the stuff that works. Having singular super units, and the Challengers are far from super units, but having a small amount of expensive units has an inherent problem with them having to regain their you just can't keep them constantly in the fight. They are going to lose their cohesion pretty fast, and as we saw with that one routed Challenger right there in the end, routing just means that the enemy will be able to do free damage. Yeah, as you pointed out repeatedly, the air game just was not out there. The ability to situationally strike against the most powerful part of Darkneutron's defenses and then not suffer any consequences from that. You do that a couple of times in this kind of a matchup, and first UK is not coming back. Very few divisions is coming back from repeatedly facing down the air attacks like that.
Yeah, the tornadoes are what is supposed to prevent this. Your tractor appears can't. They are supposed to be the anti-helicopter and the ones that like stop enemies from chasing down your planes, but they are not the ones that stop the enemy air spam. And Darkneutron ignored that. Darkneutron used his tornado for hunting down a helicopter, which is not its job at all, and got punished for that. Like, really, this one tornado getting lost, it just enabled the whole snowball of the rest of the game, and it's always
Yeah,
so interesting to see that in Division 1. I always go on to a ramble. I know people who watched us earlier know that we do that, but the people are keep continuing doing this mistake here, and that's one of the
it
few
is.
parts of the game I'm knowledgeable about. So and maybe more knowledgeable than a lot of the Division 1 players. So I'm gonna go on about it, as it has to stop.
It is an itch that you need to scratch. It's an OCD thing, you know. You see the helicopter and you have the plane, and you just really want to see it go. And that impulse is so powerful that if you, especially if you're a lower level player or nothing like rank 1v1, the tactic of the bait copter, the helicopter or the recon helicopter that you have around close to the front line, and you just station like 3 anti-air units under it, and you will gain free fighter kills. The enemies will send singular fighters and even fighter bombers to just dive random helicopters if you have them around. So just exploit that. It's very easy.
Yeah, job well done here by Stardekk. Darkneutron has 2 draws now, and we have one more game coming up in this group. Darkneutron versus HoneyKumiss, aka Scoof, or aka how was he known as well? The names are endless. Babblegun, right? The finalist of last season, coming up here next, and Babblegun in a slightly better position as we have a look here. Babblegun up with a win and a draw, so Darkneutron would need a 2-0 victory to get into the playoffs. Otherwise, Babblegun moves on, and Babblegun needs a win to get above Stardekk here in the group. Well, but only needs a draw to move on to the playoffs. So, quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with that final series out of this group. And we return to the game that we were just talking about. The tournament life for both players here on the line. HoneyKumiss needs a tie in the series. Darkneutron needs a win to move on to the playoffs. And we have 20th Panzerna this time around for Darkneutron, though, versus First UK. So the same matchup like we saw last game, but Darkneutron this time the one with the aggressive Polish division. We are back to 2 legs, and the finalist from last season here coming around with the First UK and with the Gazelle opener as well. And what do you think will be the game plan here from the First UK to have a different outcome than last game?
I mean, Two Lakes is kind of like a funnel that condenses WARNO openers and also literally, physically condenses forces around the Leonid Emma axis. And so far, I really think that the opener is not that different from earlier First UK plays. We have the occasional Pararover Milan with the forward deploying ATGMs. We have some scimitars providing firepower for the opener and kill the units that get spotted by the gazelles. We have a single vetted up challenger with some appliques, the standard 6 gazelle rockets to kill any soft targets that they can spot out. And outside of that, it's really going to rely a lot on control and airplay. And if you can take these units, the scimitars, all the recon units, and you can actually set up positions to uh, keep those positions and fortify them and have air support with them, those units on their own can do a lot of a lot of good work. Importantly, here we're not really seeing HoneyKumiss Scoof invest infantry into going into Olga, unlike the Darkneutron, who is doing a more conventional attack around Olga. We're going to have the Gazelles try to pick out the crucial infantry squads from the Polish, so that the recon and even the gun group here most likely will try to just take any kind of position to prevent the enemy from entering. If the enemy is prevented from entering, you have your hell arms, you have your fighters, you can do a lot of stuff there. And but on the other hand, if you don't manage to prevent the enemy from getting in, if the T-72M1 of Darkneutron actually gets a control over the reinforcement routes into the Olga town, there are no units here to really do anything about that. And the Paramilan 2 is, of course, can penetrate the armor, but 1v1, it's not that much. The more aggressive opener for HoneyKumiss up north, trying to get not into Emma, but trying to get positions to snipe out units that would be going into Emma. I think that's the right choice. The Rozpecialny are going to be first in the town, so you're going to want to have the Rozpecialny sit there on their own, prevent reinforcements from going in, and then few minutes in, your the little seedling of an armored attack, the single uplink, the single track rapier, and the single challenger, those will theoretically multiply, and that is when Skoof would get into the town. And that's really is everything is going to, in this funnel of a map, everything is going to depend on control.
Yeah, Olga is the focal point of this fight. Gazelle coming forward, Scimitars coming forward. Olga is being fought over. Gazelle rockets rushing in here in force. We have Scimitars rolling in style, but the Rozpecialnys here will get in. There's no air here from Darkneutron, no helicopters, no fighters, so the Gazelle rockets should be able to at least take some fight here to these units, taking some damage onto the HoneyKumiss and the Rozpecialnys. Gazelle has to be careful to not be shut down by it, but SAS Patrol and the other units able to leapfrog a bit further forward, and HoneyKumiss should go down here. Rozpecialny taking decent damage as well. Same goes for the Specialny GSR, but both do survive for now. SAS Patrol could move on a bit further. The Saperji are scary, but the Scimitar might be able to intercept those as well. Darkneutron not microing yet. Oh, but it's engaging the other direction. It's not engaging the transports. And it gets engaged by the Fagot. Smoke comes out in time, but the Scimitars now have to rotate a bit around, as the one in the south is in a good spot here. Fagot ATGM annoying more of the transports there. Tornado HE coming around from the get-go as well. Airplay will try to get the damage done once Saperji does survive, but good first salvo here by HoneyKumiss. And a +1 lead, 150 points, and getting control over Olga. This is a solid start here for the slower and slightly heavier division here with the first UK. And a way better start than what we saw from Stardekk versus Darkneutron's last game for the first UK here.
Yeah, the Olga fight here is in a pretty interesting condition. There is a full-strength SAS Patrol and a low-cohesion Saperzi, but the T-72M1 is in a position to support. Now, there are no units right now that have any armored penetration. Darkneutron doesn't know that, but not Darkneutron's T-72 can win these fights alongside the Saperzi. If these are controlled well, very big hits going in on the SAS Patrol, both satchel charges and the 125mm gun. And up north, we're seeing the Scimitar getting taken out by a tank. The no kills so far for the southern flanking force, and the Challenger moving very close to a recon and a Fagot position on north side of Olga here. HoneyKumiss not playing standard, getting a lot of Warrior Milans with the gun groups, which are the cheapest way that you can get the IFV alongside this very kind of defensive little flank defense squad. The Challenger Mark II getting routed by some, not routed, but getting stunned by some Polish AT weapons.
And there comes the SU-22 AT. It misses the first shot though. Smoke comes up too late. Tractor Pierdo does the damage and pushes it out. Challenger now falling back. There is no ammo in the units in the building, but the Challenger doesn't spot them anymore. They are not dead. Challenger HE output is abysmal compared to any other main battle tank. It only has 1 MG, and it's a light one. It has a low rate of fire on its main gun as well, so the HE damage really not that great. Milan 2 though, baiting out the T-72 there with the Challenger, nearly paying off. Not quite getting the kill though. T-55AS now are scary, pushing in as well. Terrier Paras luckily make it into the town. Gazelle rockets here have to be careful with the ZU. Meanwhile, Scimitar in the south gets engaged by T-55AM. But yeah, Milan 2 doing the job. Challenger gets now attacked by the Fagot again. Has to be careful there. It will take a while to kill, but now with endless ammunition thanks to the supply, it can do the job. So that unit should disengage there in a second. And it goes side shot! Oh no! Both sides losing an important tank there, but the one for HoneyKumiss is the more expensive one. Challenger Mark II actually moving at the exactly wrong moment, showing side armor and getting one-shotted there. A bit of a micro mistake, and Warrior Milan, the next unit driving in there, getting killed off. Also interesting to see that this is the normal Warrior Milans, not the Pleeks being used here. I have no idea why you ever would do that.
It's because the gun groups come with only with the normal ones.
Oh yeah.
You need armored rifles for the uplix.
So it's just a cheap spam tactic here, but yeah, the situation.
And in a division that needs to, if you're going against the Polish, relying on the cheap spam tactic is not necessarily the worst idea. I mean, most of the time you're going to be attacking T-55s, BMP-1s, BMP-2s. All of them are vulnerable to the Milan 1 missile of the standard warrior. Now, there are so many things shown for the recon of Darkneutron that Darkneutron actually sent out an infantry excursion to push up north. And they got some ground, but they got sniped badly by the SAS patrol and retreated before moving further. Now, reinforcements coming in for HoneyKumiss with more tanks and appliques, and they are getting rerouted to go into the middle again. So even with the Challenger up north, the reinforcements are not going to be joining it.
Yeah, Challenger and Chieftains split up. The Gazelles here and the Lynxes in weird spots. Gun group pushing forward into the Rospecialny GSR. But the ZU-23 will make short process out of those guys. So the gun group should disengage. Reaction just in time there. Tornado HE comes around. Doesn't drop its bomb though. And gets shot up heavily. Tornado HE not able to get the bombs out. Does survive, but will be out for a while before it can attempt to drop its bombs next another time. Terrier Carl Gustav and SAS Patrol against Saperji, but the T-55AS are the problems. Both of them firing at the same time. Bit overkill, but they finish the job. Supply trucks coming in, and that's the pain against fighting the Polish in town fights. These things can ruin every town fight in a split second. The reload time not all that long either. So the T-55AS here can come around in a couple of seconds as soon as they have the resupply truck behind them. Every minute they can come around and do this again. Milan 2 trying to help out here on the side against the Wilk, but the infantry has been pushed out. HoneyKumiss gets ticked up against now. The M109 is a good investment, helping out against the ZU-23 there. And helping out against a couple other units there as well. As the Tornado HE number 2 is coming around. Coop only in the north so far. There is one now coming in for the south as well, but it's still a bit away. So the bombs get out, but actually everything they wanted to kill already died beforehand. So Tornado HE here, a bit useless this time around as well. Strela in the south goes down. Lynx Hellarm is allowed to rotate a bit, but Strela 10Ms and Coops are bought. Warrior Pleek does its job from the north here. Saperji under fire, as the M109 should continue firing into this building complex and clean it up that way. And if not clean it up, just make it into rubble. As the Warrior Pleek tries to help out there as well. Double Fagot could help out against it if they would move into the right position, but for now stays out of the fight. Wilk helping out against the armored rifles. as the Chieftain Mark 11 pushes forward. M109 aiming against the Wilk, actually, not against the buildings. Mistake there in my eyes, but we're gonna see how that goes as the Fagot and the Piotr Smack keep on engaging here. Artillery coming in from the Dana from the other side, hunting down the Milan 2. Milan 2 desperately trying to move out of the way. Might actually succeed there. Covering a good amount of distance there. But nope, the third shot lands on target. And the Wilk moved away from the M109. Hunting down the Warrior and the Chieftain. So HoneyKumiss is stuck. And no infantry in the town. So Darkneutron can get into it any second now.
Yeah, the Wilks here are very crucial in applying pressure. There is a Hell Arm which will force the Wilks to move back for a moment until the Strela gets microed into position to fire, which is probably going to be a moment because Darkneutron does see this helicopter. Now, the growing force of Sapersi, there is a AT plane here waiting to dive, and this being a British division, there is no radar AA. Diving the track trappeer, the lone track trappeer, is actually very valid, especially as there are no fighters currently on the board. Did drop fire its missile, did not hit. Yeah, I think the number of Wilks here, there is only going to be a growing force of ATGMs for HoneyKumiss. They very clearly, some nice artillery hitting here in the corner, taking out a warrior oblique. But yeah, the Wilks, I think, are very powerful, but they need to they need to apply pressure here, and they need to work in tandem supporting these Sapersis here. I think the Sapersis with the T-72 support can win this, not to mention T-55 support. And but if the tanks move out there on their own, they will be getting into enemy territory, and losing this recon is going to be so difficult to destroy every single cheap ATGM that the British can put out there. And a Challenger Mark III getting bought by HoneyKumiss actually to start this. So the sooner the attack happens, the better.
Yeah, the M109 hasn't cleared out the area yet. Is actually now trying to shoot down some coops. That would be nice, enabling the tornadoes a bit more. Tornado on the north being brought in to push back the AC-22. That will disengage. Tornado canting a bit deep. Gets the kill though. Even if it goes down, that would be fine, but it doesn't seem to go down. So nice kill, getting rewarded there for a calculated risk, not a super deep dive, but a somewhat risky deep dive. T-72M1D gets shut down in the north as well by the Challenger and the Warrior. Coop might go down as well, and those are some nice setups here. Though, for now, the position with being on top of Olga and being inside there is still better for Darkneutron here for sure. So, HoneyKumiss still needs to find some kill. Coop not getting killed off. Dana now with the counter battery actually against the M109. M109 should rotate its spot. Losing that would be big. And the Dana counter battery is coming in. It's not 100% accurate here, but 2 consecutive shots landing right on top of the M109. One more shot coming in. M109. Oh, it does survive. Are there 2 Danas? Oh yeah, there are 2 Danas. Okay, I was wondering why there were so many shots. The other one was even further and even more inaccurate though. So the M109 does survive. Big, important situation there for HoneyKumiss, being able to keep that engaging. Coops being turned off here. HE Bomber comes in for the Saperji. T-55AS doing a job on the other side. Ooh, Seed kills the Coop. Coop a bit turned on a bit too early there by Darkneutron. And that is a key kill for HoneyKumiss. Killing off the Coop in the north. Whilst the HE Bombers also got the Saperji in the town. The northern town is a complete field of rebel. Changing the line of sight around there a lot more into tank country as well. Whilst the Spartan and the Chieftain now pushing a bit forward as well. So, yeah, the situation here, not that bad for HoneyKumiss now, as long as they can win the tank fights.
Yeah, Darkneutron kind of wasted both of their coffin launchers into the one Terrius Para, that was already getting stunned down by the Sapersi and the T-72. If the Sapersi had been moving to satchel range instead of waiting for them, they could have probably, at least one of them could have probably avoided the bombers, and the infantry attack could still be going. A huge shame about that coup, but fortunately coups are only 110 points, and as long as the map is now another seed plane coming out there, the coups are automatically on, so they will see the planes coming in here. The HE targeting the Wilk here, and coups are getting shut off, turned on, firing, and a nice hit by the OSA, by the Strela, actually, the Tornado HE, with the seed plane coming out for another run.
Yeah, but good micro there by Darkneutron, not losing any further ones there. Wilk and Fagot with the shots against the Challenger. Challenger Mark II getting stunned, getting pushed away there. As the seed plane stays around, but the coups stay turned off in the south. The one in the north is turned on, but the seed plane won't see that. The Challenger Mark II actually getting side shot there. Going low. Has smoke right on top of it, but it's such a slow tank when stressed out. Disengaging there away. Seems to be able to survive. Has to get back before Danas can hit it into a territory where it can be resupplied. Luckily for HoneyKumiss. Oh, another coup came around. Oh, double kill with the seed. Oh,
No.
the new one wasn't turned off.
No.
The Strelas not able to get the shot. Oh, the last one.
Oh.
The last one at least gets the revenge kill there, but two more coups being killed. The AA here falling slowly a bit short, allowing the Tornado high-level bombers, HEs, and clusters to maybe make some more runs later on. Annoying losses here for Darkneutron, and yeah, big change to the dynamic on the battlefield here. M109 is back in action, hunting down the Fagot team. Good hit with the first shot. Is this time following it up with a move order, so counter battery shouldn't help him, but the Challenger, the forest where it is being repaired, has been identified, and that's a big problem, because it's not getting repaired fast enough to survive some Dana hits that are about to come towards it. So, likely going to be the end of the Challenger here. Chieftain moving a bit away already, so that one won't die, but the Challenger is already down to 1 hit point, and there it goes. Good follow-up by Darkneutron, not letting that thing escape, and changing the power balance here in the armor a good bit in their favor.
Yeah, Piekota's mech SVDs have been doing a little bit of an incursion up north and taking out an infantry squad now, losing against the Warrior Milan, but still getting some nice shots in, doing half damage to the uplink already, and meanwhile, actually taking out the uplink. Very, very good for those Piekota's mech SVD. Meanwhile, Sapersi have gone into the southeast entrance of the Darkneutron's town here, and T-55 ASS targeting a rifles unit, and now the Sapersi moving up here to engage the second one. The Sapersi, of course, satchel judges, very powerful, 9-man, very powerful, but also, unlike other engineer units, has an AT weapon, a very bad AT weapon, the worst AT weapon actually. The RPG-76 Komar has the bad sides of both disposable and reloadable launchers, both low ammo and low rate of fire. But still, it's quite effective because engineer units are generally countered by light transport vehicles. And 2 Centurion AVREs moving up the northern town, gonna be driving pretty close to the AT rocket range. Actually, HoneyKumiss is sending them to clean up the Piekota Schmeck, with one of them having escaped already. This escape here is very tactically important and will probably help Darkneutron and give them some confidence in moving further down west. There's only a single Paramilan 2, and that can be taken out by this exact Dana barrage that is currently landing. And now with SAS Patrol has spotted everything, fired most of its sniper rifle ammo in taking out this one Strela, and earlier on the Strela was in a car, and meanwhile Sapersi have managed to push further into the Olga town. One of them holding the entrance, another one of them pushing further in. And the pushing further in is quite important because it gives targets for both the Danas and the T-55 ASs. The coffin launchers have not been reloaded. Actually, they were just had. Oh, another seed wave
But
going in here.
the HE bomber not dropping, and it flies directly over the Strelas, not turning fast enough. Wasted bomber here. Big mistake by HoneyKumiss, and flying with the seaplane here for another extra round to be shot. The para leader goes down in the town as well. Scott Ace and Sabershi is doing a good job there. The T-72 moves in, and that will be the +2. Seaplane turns another time around without any reason, and the Strela 10Ms, they are so numerous now that they get the shutdown here, and the +2 is coming back. The northern kill also means that HoneyKumiss's chance of pushing there are stopped, so HoneyKumiss won't get a counter push anywhere going, so they need to clear out the town, but against the Saperjis, that is not going to be easy. The Danas did so much work here as well. Polish fast-firing artillery here out of Czech production, doing a good job. We will see a good bit more of those with the upcoming Southwick DLC. And the Centurion AVREs and Challenger Mark IIIs are in a decent spots here, but they need to really set up some armored fights maybe with the Chief Challengers, hunting down enemy tanks, pushing down the enemy for good out of the area, as currently the contestation that Darkneutron still has on all of this is pretty troublesome, and with the fight being so static, the Danas really can reign supreme here.
Yeah, and the AVREs actually were stopped by BMP-1s, which because the AVRE does not have AT weapons, so it's a pretty bad choice to hold that line. It's a specialized fire support unit more than an actual tank. And with Mosa Persi getting out there and like a very solid line of defense held by Darkneutron, Challenger Mark III is pushing further in after the spotting of the Scout's Law 80, but there's so much stuff here. Now cluster plane flying in, but and even though the supply is not here like perfect for Darkneutron, there's a bunch of cheap supply trucks around the place, most of them having enough supply to keep up this defense with a little bit extra micro. The Strela 10s have really been performing. Just the numbers of the Strelas and the fact that this map is not friendly for bomber aircraft, considering everything is so very, very predictable and the areas are so small, they basically have to and the game is done.
Yeah, job well done here by Darkneutron, getting the 1000 KD up, and using not being able to get the fast early advantage with the Polish. Good defense there by HoneyKumiss, but playing it methodically and really using the artillery, the T-55s and the Danas to this success that you need to get out of them. The AA scenarios were good enough as well. HoneyKumiss there were a couple of slight mistakes after some early successes, and then the tank engagement was taken well there as well. Follow up on the challengers when they retreated and so on. All of that well done by Darkneutron. Deserved victory here at another time where I wonder, shouldn't 20th Panzerna be on the ban list when people go into the pick and ban phase? Because it really has a great win record right now and seems to be hard to stop.
Yeah, it's very rare to see Scoof play and not look like it looked like they were not in control. I think there were like series of singular engagements which kind of locked them into certain strategies. First of all, just attacking with chieftains and challengers after you've lost so many of them in the middle part of the game. So in the late game, having to rely on those planes was kind of, I think, a result of getting such good seed hits and then wanting to lean on the victories of the seed instead of buying even more challengers, which are going to take their time and are going to be taken out by, at least challenged by a lot of the cheaper ATGMs and the better Wilk tanks. Now, I was very surprised about the passivity of Darkneutron, and as you could see in the end, Darkneutron's deployments were so far and like spread out all around the east side of the town, barely even trying to get in there. And I think that was the right choice. Just make sure that the enemy is gonna have to come to you. Only engage them when it's necessary, and meanwhile, having won the points as the numbers advantage, it was pretty clear that Scoof was going to keep doing things to solve this. And as the game went further, doing those things just meant the tornado bombers. And you don't need to, even if you don't make any mistakes, your tornado play can fail. And at the end, those few mistakes really just showed that the Strelas, there were too many Strelas there. That something should have had done earlier. There were a bunch of helicopter movement, and every single one of them just immediately bang stopped by a Strela 10.
So yeah, really interesting one here. And we're gonna see now the decider game in the next one, as Darkneutron gets the first point here, and HoneyKumiss needs a draw here, so the next game would be still enough if they win it, but they need to win it now to make the spot in the playoffs. Otherwise, if Darkneutron gets that, Darkneutron will move on to the playoffs and stop another finalist from moving on into the playoff stages. The finalist curse may be striking again. We will see it after a short break. It already got Woe Is Me. Will it get HoneyKumiss here as well? We will be back after 2-minute break, guys, with game number 2. And we're gonna have the final game of this group that is going to decide who moves on to the playoffs on Mount River Duel. And I'm all for it, as it is a matchup that we have seen a couple of times as well. But before we jump in, a real quick shout out to the next tournament coming up in the SDL calendar. And that is the monthly Swiss tournament. This time around on the normal WARNO patch. And a 2v2 format where you pick a faction or 3 blocks and 3 nations, and then ban one of them away from the enemy team, and then pick and ban. It's a pretty simple play style. It's a one-day tournament for 2v2 fans. If you join, it's in the Swiss format, so that means there is no elimination. You will be able to play through all the rounds against opponents with similar scores, so similar skill, most likely as well, so it's self-balancing as well. So if you want to have some good 2v2 WARNO games, some good 2v2 fun team games, join us here on the 26th of July. Sign up in the chat, and all the informations to the rule set and so on as well. The maps will be voted by the players so that we play the most enjoyable maps for the players as well. And yeah, with that said, let's get into the action here, and let's get it to another T72 matchup.
Yeah, here we can see the best tactics have clearly been found out here, because they do get repeated a lot. We're seeing a bunch of Rospecialny taking aggro positions reliably. Every single Rospecialny is going into a daring position, a position to actually push up the attack. Salamandra, 2 Salamandras here to support. I think it's good to not have like 4 or 5 of them out there. It's a bit too much, and you don't necessarily, there's diminishing returns with them if you have numbers of them. And with a single T72 M1 coming from a scoop side to the middle, protected by a Kub, as you would expect, and some veteran infantry, whereas the Aufklärer BMP-1s and Moto Aufklärers are taking the zones, taking positions for Darkneutron. But I gotta say, especially the southern unit here, going way too deep. The Rospecialny will drive past them most likely. Maybe going in too deep is legitimized by having the 2 Mi2 urns, which will be able to burst down the Rospecialny immediately, and there not being any organic air defenses around the back point of Olga. Darkneutron probably is going to either try to drive the T-72 leader right there, or if there is a problem, then reroute it further up north. But with 2 fighters and a bunch of Mi2 urns here, Darkneutron is playing this aggressively, even though they lack the equipment to do so. Going to challenge the MiG-21s once again. 21s only having heat seekers, so MiG-23 MLs have a significant technological advantage here, but they are slower than their... no, not actually. They are the same speed as their predecessors.
Oh, yeah, MiG-23s here coming around, getting the first shot, getting the first hit. They also have 10 versus 8 hit points, which is important with the R60Ms only dealing 4 damage, so nice kill there.
And they're upwetted as well.
MiG-23ML moving around, getting after the Salamandra, getting some decent damage there. MiG-21 Bis chasing down behind it now. MiG-23ML trying to disengage there. The R6 is flying in numbers. Last one going out. Gets one MiG-23. A bit of a mismicro there by Darkneutron, but in the end, still okay. Mi2 URP gets shot down by the Mi2 Yearns, and the Fagot and Honkers get a wound as well. MiG-21 also gets killed off by the coup on the way out. A numerical advantage and a quality advantage here in the middle for HoneyKumiss. So they will get the middle section, but they have to be careful in the north to not get fully overrun there. BMP1 with Piotr Smek has to maybe go a bit closer to frontline. Oh, the Raspusiani kill off the CV though. Darkneutron overextending there a bit, maybe believing that they already killed Raspusiani, but it gets the 30mm grenade launcher as well. That one paying off big time for itself. Whilst Darkneutron keeps the pressure up on the south, kills off another Salamandra, but the center is in a lot of pressure, has to be careful to not get fully overrun there. Coop hunting down the MiG-23, as there is so little left for Darkneutron in the middle. Both sides losing so many units across the board. The south collapsing here for HoneyKumiss, T-72 M1K now pushing towards Olga. But what a wild game here. These two divisions just exchanging blow for blow here, and there's like maybe 600 points left for both sides on the battlefield at this stage from the 1,500 points they started with.
Darkneutron has a single card, which is the Moto Outclarer spotting in the middle here, but the AT plane does not get an attack run here, and the Mi2 urn does get taken out by the Kub. But though so far Kub is out of ammunition, no, the AT plane is actually retreating, so it is not going to be able to take advantage of the Kub here. And the other Kub on the other side also without ammunition.
Yeah, has to disengage away from the MiG-21 Bis. It could take the fight potentially, but you don't want to lose the Su-22 there in that fight. It's too much of a risk. MiG-23 MF on the other side, that should win the 1v1 fight here. Gets the first missile out, gets the first hit, and MiG-21 goes down. MiG-23 takes a bit of damage here, but winning the engagement is big. Will enable the air superiority now, and the Su-22 maybe a bit more action next time. So I think it's a wise decision to get the Su-22 back. It didn't fire any missiles, so it should reload quite quickly, and only needs to refuel basically. The fight's on the ground though. HoneyKumiss with a lot of pressure, loses a BMP-1 in the north, will get the push up there. Darkneutron with the Mi2 Yearn in the middle, holding out. Now the flank of the BMP-1 and the T-72 from the center south from HoneyKumiss, not pushing onwards, but rather trying to cut off the red units that are around in Olga, and trying to kill off and catch off the T-72 M1K, and reducing the board presence of Darkneutron even further. Darkneutron with the BMP-1 recon here on the side, trying to spot for the T-72 M1K. T-55A gets side-shotted, gets frontal shot. Darkneutron with an important kill there, but more T-72s already on the way. Really, really low density fight right now on the front line, as both sides just running out of units here. The attrition rate higher than the reinforcement rate for ground units. Yeah,
okay, a MiG-21 Bis light bomber coming in for HoneyKumiss here, very useful unit in this specific situation here. There's going to be a tank fight between the T-72 leaders, and if one of those T-72s is going to be under either without a recon unit or lowered cohesion due to the bomber, that's gonna signal a win. And HoneyKumiss here taking some ground using the BMP-1 and the T-72 to cut off reinforcements into the back point for Darkneutron. Taking out the recon unit around Olga, which means that any kind of fight for Darkneutron's command panzer is going to be very problematic. And so far, reinforcements on Darkneutron are coming in slowly. The fact that the Mi-2 Urns are out here and can provide fire support is a way to contain the enemy, but I think Darkneutron's best play here would maybe be just try to
coming in. Doesn't hit with the first shot there against the T-72MK. MiG-23ML now trying to hunt it down. That would be a big catch, but the T-72MK eats a frontal hit. Has 70 frontal armor, so it doesn't quite go down. Coop intercepting together with the Shilka. MiG-23ML, can it find the kill here in time? Oh! The SU-22 does escape with 1 hit point. MiG-23ML at least turning the right direction so that the Coop should be able to kill it, but there is still the Shilka, so it will take a bit more damage. Shilka not doing it. Coop gets in from the side, but not in time. Warp Speed gets in there in time for the unit to disengage. T-72M1K goes down, and yeah, the front line is a wild mess here right now, but it is an advantageous one for HoneyKumiss. The air is an advantage for Darkneutron slightly, but...
No. North Darkneutron, just take the point. You misclick here. No. Oh, there's some free points getting donated for HoneyKumiss right now. And MiG-21D, 24D Hind, finding the interception units, at least one of them here, supported by its Mi-2 leader. But
SU-22 here, taking the fight in the air. Really risky and likely going to get punished by the Shilka there. Coop gets around with another shot and gets the kill there, and that's how you throw away your air lead as well here as Darkneutron. Mi-24s and has to disengage here away from the MiG-21. This SU-22 was so key, saved earlier with a nice preservation, but this time around it gets killed off. The SPW finally moves in the north. BMP-1 Recon there, still around. Has its ATGM coming in against the T-55A, which can't spot it, but does miss. We have 2 more Mi-2 Urns. MiG-23s against MiG-21. At least keep the air superiority, but not the air advantage right now, really, as the attack aircraft are not around. So, +2 for HoneyKumiss going on. And the red side here in a bit of trouble. Not out of this yet by any means, but on a bit of a back foot. +2 here for blue side. And yeah, both sides with so few units on the battlefield that any kill on the T-72 here would be a big swing in power balance.
Yeah, the HoneyKumiss had nothing up north here, and Darkneutron had the potential to just walk up there and get some free ground, but with the lack of units, they didn't want to risk this. HoneyKumiss called that bluff, and now the reinforcements holding north are more than enough to keep it. Now, there needs to be a fighter escort to maybe deal with the Mi-2 Urns, but outside of this, I think North HoneyKumiss is going to have a nice stance in building up a if you look at the middle point and you look at the northern blue point of Papa, in the middle of these you can build a front line. The buildings, the forest, they allow you to actually hold and get some angles to which you can get superior fights against an enemy who is trying to get to either the middle or the northern points. And this is where I'm seeing that blue reinforcements are going right now, whereas red reinforcements, the pioneers, are going into a standard entry location, trying to get in and start infantry fights supported by the T-72s. Now, a T-72S Veterancy 1, thank God, is going in for the middle, so fire superiority and technological superiority is going to be here for a moment, at least for Darkneutron. And if Darkneutron can get a recon in the middle of this open area in the middle here, that could be a huge force multiplier for the T-72S.
Yeah, there is also no tank there right now, only a Fagot ATGM for HoneyKumiss, so the T-72 M1 and S maybe could even push through that. The Pioneers pushing with this and get a bit of an angle there. There is a T-72 M1 further south that could maybe rotate towards the north, but then it might get rear-shotted by the T-72 MUV, so really the battlefield here is insanely tense right now. as every small mistake can cost you the game at this stage. Darkneutron pushing forwards with the Pioneers needs to be a bit more risky right now, as the T-72M1 gets a shot out. Will now help out against the Ross Specialny as well. Disengages for the moment. T-72M1 in the south gets rear-shotted, gets killed off by the T-72 MEV. So, yeah, big kill there for Darkneutron. MEV catching the T-72M1 moving north. As both sides lacking a bit of recon as they died in droves. Lacking a bit of forces around the battlefield. Motschützen moving around. Pioneer pushing in there now. GSR in the high-rise silos does have a good eye on the situation, but there is little that it can call in for support right now. SPW 70s, good fire support units moving forward here now as well for the East Germans. 30 points, 2 MGs can help out against the Picotta smack for the Pioneers here, turning the fights. And the two C-72s, they don't know how little there is against them right now, but they could actually be even more aggressive than they are right now.
Yeah, there is a careful passivity that is not really paying off for Darkneutron right now, but at least not yet. And I was just going to say a moment ago that what Darkneutron really needs here is artillery, surprisingly enough. And artillery was immediately bought when I realized this. Targeting and getting a really nice hit against an MI8 supply, not taking it out though, unless this last.
It's taking off, and it gets it just before it could take off as well. Good kill there. S-22AT though comes around, gets the T-72S. Can the MiG-23 at least retaliate? Oh, it eats a lot of missiles. Last missile flying gets the kill though. MiG-23ML does survive on the way out as well. Okay trade there. The T-72S is a painful unit to lose right now because it eats a bit of momentum away, but getting the S-22 removed for the rest of the game, that is still pretty long, is key as well. Specialny GSR getting killed off in the center, and Darkneutron is slowly turning this around. MiG-23 usage here really important. And yes, the T-72S smoking off a bit too late, but still good enough there. T-72M1 now needs to help out though, otherwise the BMP2 will be able to retake the center here. +2 still going on for our player in blue. T-72 MEV now under fire. BMP1 sees the UATs, but has to be careful there of the Fagot launcher as well. T-72 M1D actually smoking off there. Didn't need to, but guess it didn't quite get spotted that way. MiG-21 BIS bomber trying to find a new target. Coop of Darkneutron out of ammo. Bit of a mistake there. Ural not even coming for it, so yeah, that should go into a different space. MiG-21 BIS though not dropping its bomb there. Mistake as well. As a T-55A and a Strela 10M go down. And we have the napalm. And we saw that last times around when this division was around, being such a game changer. And this could ruin the day of the 20th Panzer here once more. And oh yeah, that's already a prime spot. Hitting the Coop, hitting the Fagot, and hitting the BMP-1 leader in that forest. The Napalm Grad is a beast. It is expensive as hell. One of the most expensive ground units in the game. 345 points. 2,000 supply points to resupply. But it also is so impactful. And here we go. Rockets landing around the Coop, around the Fagot, around the BMP-1. Fagot desperately trying to escape. The other units will not really have a way out. The BMP-1 maybe could have escaped over the water. The Coop has no way out there and will die in the flames. BMP-1 now routed as well. Both units going down. Big swing in the force balance there in the center. 152mm artillery. Might also get an ATGM in the south. Artillery starts to swing the game. You have the Danas on the other side now coming in as well. Those can do a lot of work as well. But really good start here for the artillery game of Darkneutron.
Yeah, HoneyKumiss is actually sending a Salamandra far down south to do flanking, maybe even trying to go and spot or alternatively just kill the napalm launcher. That's a risk worth taking if you have a 60-point helicopter, in my opinion. The napalm, especially when you don't fire the full salvo of 40 rounds per, you can get multiple small salvos, destroy multiple small and medium-sized positions in a quick succession. That's very crucial here. And Koob actually getting not a hit, but still driving off possibly after the next shot, an Su-22 AT, another Su-22 AT going out here. And the problem right now is that HoneyKumiss does very little spotting here.
Oh, gets the Coop actually with the Su-22. Recon doing the job there. Doesn't see the T-72M1 anymore, but gets the Coop 1 killed. Second Coop comes around, but doesn't get a hit there. Annoying loss there for Darkneutron, but with the second Coop already around, it's not the end of the world. 152mm does do a lot of damage against the T-72M1D in the south. A T-72 MEV now smelling blood in the water, starts to push in, doesn't get the hit on the first shot, but HoneyKumiss needs to disengage there right now, does do that, as the MEV does push on, chasing. BMP-1 tries to hit it with the ATGM, gets a hit, but no real damage. MEV though, not able to get a hit either. Su-22 gets a kill on the T-72 MK and moving to the north, and misses the T-72 MEV in the south. So, good hit there still for HoneyKumiss, killing the leader tank, stopping the capture of the middle, stopping the tick, going to Darkneutron, and with that, keeping up the +2 and keeping up the pressure as Darkneutron gets more MEVs around in the north. Rozpesnelny there goes down. The northern situation not super comfortable for HoneyKumiss. Has a Wilk though, so the spot is still decently safe. Big MiG-21 and Su-22 spam wave right now. The fighters on the other side a bit out of ammo, a bit damaged. Need to wait a bit before they can come around again. MEV in the south doesn't go down to 3 HE bombers, but situation here stabilized a bit more for our player in blue.
Yeah, the trades that HoneyKumiss has been getting here have been keeping them up, and now buying four supply trucks actually, all of them going into the middle, and is probably kind of envisioning a large armored fight. Now, currently, HoneyKumiss still holds the middle recon advantage, with the Rozpecial and GSR being the best unit to have in that exact building, and that unit is going to allow for both artillery, air, and airplane play, but also very importantly supporting all the tanks. But now an Akatsiya has targeted it and takes it out with I think a blind salvo actually, just recognizing there's most likely is always going to be something there. There's still a good optics Honkaroos next to it, so not completely blind. But outside of the Honkaroos, there's a serious lack of recon for HoneyKumiss, and no recon reinforcements coming for the moment for the middle. And that could potentially, if an attack happens by Darkneutron while there is no recon, that could seriously hurt some of their chances. Now, both Salamandras, both North and South Salamandras, are moving in and going the lurk route, the safest possible route, and trying to get into the back line, most likely to get that napalm artillery. Napalm artillery is aiming currently right at the position where the Koob and the T-55A are currently being resupplied.
Yeah, that is currently on hold fire. Now let's loose, and the salvo is flying in, and that could be devastating once more. The Coop is a bit outside of it though, so the T-55s and supply trucks the targets this time around, and even those, well, the T-55 at least will survive here, so not the end of the world this time. A semi-empty supply truck getting killed off, but the Mi-2s, if they could get the kill there, that would ease the pressure here a lot, give the artillery advantage to HoneyKumiss with the Danas, so that would be pretty helpful. Otherwise the ARM-7